Mark from Top Local. We're here with Bernie Pawlik, Pawlik Automotive, Vancouver's best loved auto service experience, 16+ time winners of best auto repair in Vancouver as voted by their customers. How you doing, Bernie?
Good.
So we're going to talk about a Landrover, a transmission service. What was going on with this? I'm assuming it was an automatic transmission.
It was an automatic transmission. Most of these vehicles we service have automatic transmissions. So yeah, the vehicle has about 100,000 kilometers, and a client of ours just bought the vehicle, and he's a very conscientious maintenance customer. Wanted to make sure the transmission service was all up to date. So we did our usual awesome transmission service that we do, which includes removing the transmission pan, replacing the filter, cleaning the pan, and then flushing the fluid. So it's basically like it's an almost 100% fluid replacement along with cleaning and service.
So is that what makes your service a bit different than most transmission services?
Well, I think a lot of certainly a lot of places do not do a transmission service to the level that we do it. I mean, it's simple. There are various ways to do it. I think some, I'm not going to say any names, but there are some places that will do a transmission service by simply draining the fluid, putting the filler plug back in, or so the drain plug back in, refilling the fluid, and that's the transmission service. Now that will basically replace about 1/3 of the fluid. So you're driving around with 2/3 dirty fluid. Not a very good idea, really. You may as well almost not waste your money. The other way to do it is to just leave the pan in place and to just run a flushing machine and flush out the fluid, which again is it's not a bad service because it'll replace most of the fluid, but it doesn't deal with what dirt or debris might be left in the pan. Now, some transmissions don't have a pan, so the only way to deal with that tranny service is to do that kind of flush, and we do those obviously. But if it has a pan and a removable pan, we always do that. It's better to do it less often, but do it thoroughly, in my opinion.
So is there an automatic transmission fluid filter, and is that fluid a different fluid than we would normally expect?
Well, the fluid depends on the vehicle, but the filter on this vehicle, we'll just talk about the Landrover specifically. It does have a filter. It has a removable pan. However, Landrover's made this one an extremely difficult service. It takes several hours to actually take the pan on and off the vehicle. The exhaust system has to be removed. There's a transmission cross member in the way, and then the transmission needs to be actually lifted up to get the pan off. And they do another unique thing that makes this service even more expensive, and that is, and I'll share. Actually, I'm not sharing the picture here. Hang on for a sec. Jump the gun here. Let me get to the screen share. Okay, screen share. Okay, now. Back to the picture. Okay. You know what? I'll keep. Yeah, we're just looking at my screen here. Hang on for a minute. I'm going to stop the screen sharing. We'll just keep talking. It's going to take. For some reason, I seem to have lost the photo, so we'll leave it. But I'll explain what's happened. So the transmission pan on this vehicle is unique in that it's a plastic pan, and it has a filter built into it. So if you want to change the filter, you have to change the pan. It's a whole one-piece unit, and so that adds a fair bit of expense to the job. So again, it's not something you need to do very often. Every 100,000 kilometers, maybe a little more often, and is enough to keep the service up to snuff.
So is that ATF or automatic transmission fluid, is that usually a synthetic fluid on most vehicles?
Nowadays it is. In the good old days, whenever that was, there used to be a fluid called Dexron 3 for most vehicles. The odd Ford would use a different type of fluid, but basically everything used that type of fluid. Then for the last 15, 20 years, a lot of transmissions have gone to synthetic, and pretty much everything now is a synthetic fluid, usually unique to the vehicle, so yeah, but yeah, pretty much everything's synthetic. So it does last a lot longer. But it still gets dirty, it still gets contaminated, and it's, if you want your vehicle to last the longest and keep your costs down, it's well worth doing on a routine basis.
How often would you say?
How often? Generally about every 100,000 kilometers. And it used to be we'd recommend 50, so that's a good jump up. for time.
So with the Landrover LR3, do you see a lot of transmission problems with these vehicles?
No, they're quite good. I mean, we work on a wide range of cars. We do a lot of Land Rovers. Never seen a transmission problem. I'm certain that some shops that do nothing but Land Rovers will see more transmission problems, but it's not a huge issue with them. They're pretty good.
So there you go. If you need some service on your Land Rover or on your transmission, the guys to call in Vancouver, Pawlik Automotive, you can reach them at 604-327-7112 to book your appointment, or check out their website, pawlikautomotive.com. Years worth of videos on there. Every week we're doing this. Thanks a lot, Bernie.
Thanks, Mark.